I did this search a couple hours ago. It's been difficult to really try to figure out how to talk about and organize all this stuff. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot of information. It's a lot of things to talk about. And I wasn't really even sure what to search for because I was just trying to think about the idea that like a lot of people who work in the entertainment industry, once they get to a certain level of success, they often are able to do a lot of bad things and nothing happens to them. So I didn't really know. You know, sometimes when you're doing internet searches, if you get very, very specific, you don't necessarily get all the information, and then if you don't get specific enough, you get too much. And so I just kind of left it at that. And I sort of these happen to be the first two articles on the page, and I read them. This one's from December 2nd, 2011. I don't really know how long this blog has been around. I think it has a number of contributors. They write about a lot of things. Hollywood manager confirms your worst fears about child actors and pedophilia. You've probably heard more than you can handle about child molestation in the past few months. Too bad, there's still more. In a case that proves the effects of the Sandusky scandal go far beyond the world of sports or even education, a Hollywood manager who specialized in child actors has been charged with sexually assaulting one of his young clients. However, he says he's nothing like all the other pedophiles we've been hearing about recently. You see, his victim was into it. They occasionally have a sarcastic tone also. Yesterday, 47-year-old Martin Weiss, who runs his own talent agency, was charged with 8 felonies relating to sexually abusing one of his clients, the LA Times reports. An 18-year-old aspiring musician and actor recently told police that Weiss sexually assaulted him from the time he was 11 or 12 until he turned 15. He says he was forced to have sex with Weiss about 30 or 40 times during that period. According to the affidavit, the victim said Weiss told him that what they were doing was common practice in the entertainment industry, and if the victim were to tell anyone, it would ruin the victim's career and hurt them both. Weiss stopped managing the victim when he was 15, but he's worked with many other children since he started his business in the mid-1990s. He's placed children in roles on shows like iCarly, Criminal Minds, and Parenthood, and movies including Jack and Jill and the Muppets movie. That's Jack and Jill and the Muppets movie, sorry. Several weeks ago, the victim became more and more worried that Weiss had abused other children, particularly because he knew other boys had spent the night at his house. I'm sorry, I'm reading through my camera. I'm reading, so the print is like much smaller than it is here, but then if I move it away, then I don't know if the camera is showing what I'm reading. So I'm sorry about that. Let's see, because he knew other boys had spent the night at his house. On November 15th, the young man confronted Weiss at his apartment and taped their conversation. Police say in the recording, Weiss admits he had sex with the victim, but says it wasn't abuse. The affidavit says Weiss was intimidated that he targeted the victim because the victim showed interest. No, Weiss intimated that he targeted the victim because the victim showed interest, and Weiss claimed the Penn State situation was different because, quote, those kids don't want it. When trying to explain that you're not a sexual predator, you probably don't want to go with one of the top 10 lines used by child abusers. It's extremely common for perpetrators to rationalize their behavior by claiming that they had consensual sex with a child, even though that's impossible. And that's exactly what the conglomerate has done. That is exactly what the conglomerate has done. I mean, the number of newspapers, news shows, magazines, everything the conglomerate has done, almost always has been saying that somehow they're like freeing children to be who they really are, and it's the kids who really want it, and all this other total nonsense. The young man, who's a prime example of why we shouldn't waste the word brave on actors who do nude scenes, says he never told anyone what happened to him because he was afraid he would not be believed or that it would tear apart or divide his family. No other victims have come forward, but police believe Weiss abused other children, possibly even outside of the film industry. Before forming his management company, Weiss worked as a costume performer at children's birthday parties. Several weeks ago, news that a registered sex offender was working with children as a casting agent prompted calls for better background checks of people who work with young actors, even though there are no new abuse charges. Paula Dorn, co-founder of the Biz Parents Foundation, a nonprofit group for child actors and their families, said yesterday, "We're saddened that there was another alleged victim of this type of abuse and thankful that they're willing to speak out. It's clear we at least need the minimum requirement that other people who work with children have to meet to send a message that child actor safety is a priority." Yes, that's totally true. That is absolutely true. And I have said similar things about the entertainment industry. They don't have rules and policies the way other businesses have rules and policies to protect people from things like this. Like it's only kind of been recently that I've begun to understand how serious a problem child abuse has been in the entertainment industry for apparently years and years and years. But this was something that I had already understood about the entertainment industry in terms of like everything about the behavior there. You know, their behavior toward adults, their behavior toward women, their behavior, you know, basically toward minorities, right? At least still in a lot of ways. Well, minorities, it's difficult to call just non-white people in the United States exactly a minority. You know, I mean, they have. You know, their rights are in the minority of things that the people in power consider to be important, right? Like are not. How am I going to put this? Their rights are considered. I said that wrong. Their rights are considered of minor importance to the people in power. I'll play there. Now I said it the right way. As for Weiss, he pleaded not guilty and is being held on $800,000 bail. If convicted, he faces 34 years in prison. Yes, I've never seen this article before. But in fact, he pleaded not guilty, and then he got sentenced to a year in jail, which was done with sentence, like and then he was let go, saying that he'd already served it. He's already served the time, and then he got 5 years probation, and registered as a sex offender. I looked him up after that. So that's it. That's all he got. I think it was in 2012. Yep. I looked him up, and that was the answer for that, which is, you know, sad. It is. It's sad. I mean, yeah. You know what? I'm going to end this video before I say something I'm going to regret.